Hello everyone, this is part 8 of What If Naruto Was Iron Man, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
After Yugao left Naruto's side and Eva asked, "You feel better?" Naruto said, "Yeah. Most of the things I have been holding on my shoulders are off now. I feel lighter." Eva said, "I'm glad. You've been acting too emo for my taste." Naruto frowned and said, "Was I really becoming another Sasuke? Bitch, slap me next time." Eva chuckled and said, "So what's the plan?" Naruto sighed and said, "I want you to start working on ideas to improve the armor and weapon systems. Also work on some defense systems as well. We got lucky in our fights, but our luck can't last forever and my enemies know nearly my entire network. Work on finding a way to cut QB chakra completely off from me." Eva blinked and asked, "Why?" Naruto said, "Remember when we were fighting those bandits in Wave? Remember what happened in that room?" Eva said, "Yeah." Naruto said, "That's the first time that happened and I haven't been able to do it again. I think QB chakra is keeping me from using it again since it was cut off from me at the time." Eva said, "It is possible. I think I can use the seal gates to keep QB chakra away, but then what will we do with it?" Naruto said, "See if you can use the new Bunshin with QB chakra and see if it lasts longer. If it can, maybe we might be able to weaponize it. I need to work on my chakra control and my wind element and some water element also. Maybe if I get a better control on both I can do that again." Eva said, "Right, if that is all then meditate while I work on that." Naruto said, "Good luck," as he closed his eyes and began to meditate. A few hours later Naruto opened his eyes and blinked and said, "Huh." Shizune said, "You okay? I was calling to you for a few minutes." Naruto said, "Sorry about that. I was meditating like you taught me." Shizune asked, "Really? How far have you gotten?" Naruto said, "I got from my heart to my right arm and down to my hip on my right side, but that's as far as I've gotten." Shizune said, "Well, every little bit helps. So how are you feeling?" Naruto moved a little and said, "I had a headache earlier but it's gone now. Other than that I feel fine." Shizune said, "That's good. I already checked your vitals and you were okay. You need anything else before I release you?" Naruto bit his lip and said, "Yeah, how do you test to see if you have a bloodline?" Shizune said, "Well, we usually do it with a test of the area where you think you have a bloodline or use elemental cards. If you think your healing is a bloodline, we checked that already because of Danzo comment in Suna. It's not. That all comes from QB chakra in you." Naruto bit his lip and said, "Actually that's not why I was asking about. I think I might have something else, something I haven't told anyone about." Shizune said, "Really? Well, why don't you tell me and I can do the testing for you and find out if it is just another one of your quirks or a real bloodline." Naruto sighed and said, "Before the invasion, after I got Eva, I went to Wave to practice with Eva, and while I was there I was asked to stop some thugs who had worked for Gato before he was killed. It was right before I came back to Konoha and I decided I was going to try the hidden mist jutsu to aid me since there were so many of them. Everything was going great until I got to the leaders who had themselves in this room ready to ambush me. The hidden mist jutsu was in that room and with Eva abilities I could see them no problem, though they couldn't see me. One finally got scared and starting swinging his sword around all wild and he nearly killed me with a wild swing and I fell to the floor and they heard me hit the ground and all went to kill me and somehow it happened." Shizune, who was sitting on the bed, asked, "What happened?" Naruto said, "The water in the room from the hidden mist jutsu suddenly turned the room into a block of ice. The men and I were all trapped in a block of ice and they all died from it, and if I didn't have Eva on I probably would have also. It took me and Eva 4 hours to get out of it." Haku, Zabuza apprentice who was a friend of mine that I met in Wave before he died, told me the story about his life and his story was almost the same as me. His bloodline kicked in after his father and some villagers in the land of water went to kill him and ice spears shot out and killed his father and all the villagers that were there to kill him. I think I have his bloodline, but..." Shizune asked, "But what?" as she began to check her pockets. Naruto said, "At the time I was cut off from QB chakra. I had forgot Orochimaru had put a 5-star seal over the QB seal. Jiraiya removed it after the invasion and now I'm not able to make ice, frost or even cold air. I think Kyuubi chakra is keeping me from accessing my bloodline if it is a bloodline. Shizune had pulled out a needle and said, well, we can find out. Let me take a blood sample from you and then seal off Kyuubi chakra and take another. If it is, then maybe we can talk to Jiraiya-sama about ways to make it where you can still use it if you really do have one. Naruto said, in a way I hope I do, but Shizune said, then you also hope you don't because of your friend. Naruto nods and Shizune took a sample of his blood and she said, okay, let me see the seal real quick. Naruto said, you know how to seal off Kyuubi chakra. Shizune said, 5-star seals are used for more than sealing off Kyuubi chakra. Naruto. They are used in medical jutsu as well sometime, though those are rare cases like that Lee kid. We had to shut his entire chakra network down except to his heart and brain, so there was no chakra feedback during his surgery, as her hand glowed and slammed it into Naruto's stomach. Taking another sample, she undid it and Naruto asked, how long will it take to find out? Shizune said, I will test it myself, so 20 minutes. Naruto said, thanks Shizune, but if it does come back I do have one, can we keep it a secret for now? I got enough on my plate for the moment. Shizune said, sure, as she left. After she was gone, Naruto thought, Eva, did you get that? Eva said, yes, though neither of us have the control to pull it off yet. Naruto nods and does a few stretches. 25 minutes later, Shizune walked back into the room and saw Naruto standing on his hands and said, feeling better? Naruto said, yeah, just working a few kinks out. So what did you find? Shizune closed the door and said, well, it appears that you are right, you do have a bloodline that leans toward ice. Kyuubi, being a fire demon, is overpowering the water element you have, making it too weak for you to use ice jutsu. It's a miracle that you can pull off that hidden mist jutsu, and if it wasn't for the fact you're probably overpowering it with chakra, then it most likely wouldn't work. Naruto frowned, and before he could say anything, Shizune said, but the good news is if you work on your elemental affinities, especially your water, and increase it, then you should be able to balance it out enough to pull off some more ice jutsu. Naruto asked, how do I work on water? I got instructions on wind, but how do I go about water? Shizune said, well, there are 5 exercises that you can do. It just so happens I am a water affinity, so I can tell you how to do them. The first exercise is trying to move water that is standing still. Usually a lake is used for this exercise. Stand on the water and let your chakra flow into the water until you can feel all the water around 5 feet around you in your chakra. Then you mold your chakra in the water to move either clockwise or counterclockwise. Not both. Once you can get the water to spin around you, then keep that going until you do it for an hour without stopping. This will not only increase your chakra control but your elemental control. Naruto said, all right, what's the second one? Shizune said, the second one is like the first, but you have to put more chakra into the exercise until you can do a 10 feet area around you, and then you have the water closest to you moving one way while the water further out moves the other way. Until you get the first exercise, don't do the second one because it will make you work 10 times harder to get the same results. Once you can get it going 2 different ways, increase the size of area you're working on and try to get 1 going clockwise and 2 counterclockwise, or whichever way you're going, and keep increasing your range until you either do the entire area around you or you run out of chakra that can be used to cover the area. Naruto said, all right, that is kind of like the Rasengan, so it won't take me too long to figure out. Shizune chuckled and said, anyways, the third exercise is harder. After you get the first 2 down, you need to learn to stick your hand in the water without getting wet by molding the chakra to move around your hand with the least amount of chakra. Once you get just the hand, do the arm, feet, legs, and keep going until you get your entire body into the water without getting wet. This is how most those in the land of water train in, so they can use another jutsu to turn water into air and stay underwater for as long as needed or until they run out of chakra. Try to do it with the least amount of chakra as possible though. Naruto said, that will be harder, but I can do it. What's the fourth one? Shizune said, the fourth one is standing under a waterfall and combining the first 3 exercises together. You have to stay dry while standing in the river under the waterfall and the falling water back up the waterfall. This is a Junin level chakra control and elemental control exercise. Naruto said, whoa, I never would have thought of that. What's the last one? Shizune said, the last one is one only the Nadaime Hokage was able to do. Pull the water from the air to make small cushions of water floating in the air so you can literally walk on air. It takes insane control to do that, and even then he was only able to do it for about 20 feet in the air before he had to stop. Gravity makes it harder since you are fighting it as well as trying to keep your concentration and balance. Naruto said, okay, I will get started on those and my wind element. Shizune frowned and said, you should do one or the other, not both, Naruto. This is not something you can just get overnight. It takes years to develop even one, and you're wanting to develop two to get a third one. That may take you till you're 20, since mastering two elements is a Junin level skill. Naruto said, I have to try anyways. Thanks for the help, Shizune. I appreciate it. Shizune sighed and said, just be careful, alright. People care for you. Naruto said, I will, don't worry. See ya. As he left, Shizune sighed and said, he's going to kill himself, I just know it, as she continued her rounds. After Naruto left the hospital, Naruto thought, okay, Gaara Scroll said to take a stone and bend my chakra to a fine edge and then use the edge to cut it. Where to train where there are stones and water, as he thought a moment before a place popped in his mind and he began to run. 20 minutes later he was standing by the river he had to clean garbage out of and thought, this is perfect, the lake below will allow me to practice the water control, and there are all those damn rocks that I kept slipping on in the river up here. Since it's basically chakra control, I can use my Kijbunshin to do it, but not too many. As he put his hands together and said Kijbunshin no Jutsu, as 30 appeared. He quickly counted them and said, all right, I want 10 of you to work on the first water control exercise on the lake below and 10 of you to work on the wind control with the rocks out of the lake. A Kijbunshin asked, what about the other 10? Naruto said, chakra control, use the leaf balancing and water walking on this river. It should make it harder to help increase our control. Another Kijbunshin asked, what are you going to be doing, boss? Naruto gulped and said, I'm going to the library, making all his clones gasp. They all stood at attention and saluted him, and one said, remember the hero who stands before us now. May he be given ramen from the gods in the next life. Naruto's sweat dropped and Eva said, your clones are idiots. Naruto thought, but they're clones of me. Eva said, I know. Naruto had anime tears falling out of his eyes at that and said, all right, enough wasting time, get to work, as he left. When he got to the library he walked in and saw a woman with pink hair at the counter, and he took a deep breath and walked in, and the woman looked at him for a moment and after she took a deep breath asked, can I help you? Naruto said, I hope so. I am looking for some books on a couple of things and I've never been here before. The woman said, I know. Naruto saw the way she was looking at him and asked, do you want me to leave? The woman blinked and asked, why would you ask that? Naruto said, you seem like you don't like me is all. I didn't want to make you mad. The woman said, you're Naruto Uzumaki, my daughter used to be on your team with Sasuke. It's not you I am mad at but Sasuke and Kakashi. When you were there she never got hurt like she did after you were gone. I was just trying to figure out what made you special enough to stop her from being hurt. Forgive me, where are my manners? My name is Suki Haruno, as she offered her hand. Naruto shook it and said, pleasure miss, forgive me for asking, I've been gone on several missions lately, but what exactly happened between Sasuke and Sakura? I heard there was an incident but haven't heard exactly what. Is she okay? Suki said, Sasuke punched her in the face and busted her lip. The actual attack wasn't that bad but it hurt her emotionally and mentally. She's doing better now since Tsunade-sama has been giving her medical training, though she's mostly learning basic first aid so far. Naruto said, well, I don't know if it means anything, but she's being reassigned to be on my team again along with Tenten under Kakashi and another sensei who will be our primary sensei, I believe. Suki said, really, so no more Sasuke? Naruto said, no. Suki smiled and said, that's good news. So what is it you were looking for? Naruto thought a second and said, basic human anatomy, strategy, anything you can find on weapons and technology and seals. Suki said, that's a lot of things to read at once. Naruto said, I have a jutsu that lets me multitask a lot at the same time. It will allow me to read several things at once. Suki said, okay, is there anything else? Naruto thought for several moments and said, geography, culture, dating, manners, and cooking. Suki blinked and said, the last four sound like you're trying to impress a girl, but why geography? Naruto said, since I am a chunin I may have to lead a team sometime and I need to know where I am going so we don't get lost. As for the last four you're sort of right. I'm in a political engagement with a couple of ladies and I want to do right by them. Suki frowned a moment and said, I see. Whenever I hear about political marriages I never thought about the guy who would have to be marrying. I always thought it was the woman who had to change for the husband. If you're trying to do right by them that means you are a good person at heart. I hope you and them will be happy. I got a few other things I think you might need if you want things to work. Go have a seat and I will bring you several books on what you asked for. How much can you multitask? Naruto said, I could do the entire library in one day if I wanted to but I might die from overload. Try to keep it under 30 books if you can. Suki said, sure, that will work, as she left. Naruto sat down and a few minutes later she came back with a cart full of books and said, here you go, just put them in the cart when you're done and I will put them back. Naruto picked up one of the books and said, massage methods. Suki said, you're not the only one who will be sore from a hard day's work. Your fiancé will also at times, so knowing how to do them will show the girls how much you care for them. Naruto smiled and said, thanks. I wish I would have come here before. Suki frowned and said, come on Tuesdays, Thursday, and Saturdays. Those are the days I work. The other lady is difficult. Naruto frowned and said, I understand and I know about that. Suki said, I see, well you're human to me. Have a good day, as she turned and left. Naruto closed his eyes and thought, slowly. When Naruto left the library he was holding his head and thought, note to self, dispel one at a time next time in the library. Eva said, true but at least we got a lot of information to help us later. I got a few ideas for the future that I scanned but nothing that will stand out as a instant win to help for now. Naruto nods and soon walks into his apartment and looks around and thought, the room still like I left it. As he walked over to the fridge and threw some food out that spoiled before he opened the cabinet and got some noodles down and started to boil them and thought, well it's not ramen but it will do. As the noodles cooked he closed his eyes and leaned his head against the cabinet and blinked and a few moments later he blinked as he felt a pair of arms come around him and he looked over his shoulder and saw Eva standing there but she looked different now. She had red hair and blue eyes and she asked, so how do I look Naruto-kun? Naruto said, different but still beautiful. Eva smiles and kissed him on the lips and he smiled and said, so what are you doing out here, not that I mind. Eva reached around and turned off the burner and said, just a little experiment. As she grabbed his hand and led him to his bedroom and shoved him on the bed. Naruto flopped down on the bed and looked at Eva with a raised eyebrow and she giggled and said, just lay back and relax. I want to see what this body can do and can't do and this is the best way I know to do it outside of battle. The better I know this body the better I can be used later. Naruto gulped and asked, and exactly how are you going to test that body? Eva smiled seductively and walked up to the bed before she crawled the rest of the way up to Naruto's face and began to kiss him as she loosened the belt on his pants. Naruto, who was returning the kiss, felt her loosen his belt and began to pull his pants down and raised his butt and he felt his boxes slip off as well. Eva broke the kiss and pulled them completely off and threw them on the floor before she motioned for him to sit up before she took his shirt off and threw it with the rest of his cloths. She kissed him again as she ran a hand over his chest and stomach and said, now this is where I need you to just lay back and relax and enjoy. Naruto laid his head back and Eva crawled down and began to stroke him with her hands and slowly put the tip of his member in her mouth and slowly began to move up and down. Naruto shuddered as he felt this and thought, never knew Kage-bunshin had spit before. As he groaned as he felt her swirl her tongue around the head. After about 5 minutes of this Naruto was panting and he said, Eva. Eva, who was rubbing his balls with one hand and bobbing her head up and down, replaced her mouth with her free hand and said, I know, do it. As she replaced her mouth and a few sucks later Naruto exploded in her mouth. Naruto was panting as he laid there on the bed and Eva crawled up and kissed him on the lips and she pulled back and Naruto had a confused look on his face and said, salty. Eva said, now you know what you taste like, as she rubbed his balls some more. Naruto was shocked but felt himself getting hard again as Eva put his hands on her breast and he began to rub them and play with them and he lightly pinched the nipples and groaned at the feeling he was feeling and Eva saw him get hard again and she slowly slid on top of his member. Naruto winced as he felt this and said, tight. Eva was gritting her teeth and said, I know, just be still. Naruto nods as he leaned forward and began to lick her nipples. Eva began to pant a little and she slowly began to move her hips up and down lightly, and Naruto groaned as each time she did it he could feel her muscles and thought, I wonder if it really feels like this, as he laid back and squirmed as he felt Eva getting faster. Eva began to rock back and forward and she said, oh yeah, that's the spee, as she went up in smoke. Naruto groaned in frustration and he heard Eva say, that was so not right. Naruto looked at his member and saw it was nearly purple ready to be released and thought, tell me about it. With a groan before he threw his head back and closed his eyes and fell asleep moments later. The next morning Naruto walked to the council chambers and saw Weasel standing outside the door and he said, yo, in a lazy voice. Weasel looked at him and asked, is something wrong? Naruto said, yeah, plumbing feels like it was backed up when you get ready to release and your partner has to leave, as he crossed his arms and leaned against the wall. Eva said in his head, it's not my fault. I didn't even get off, you got to at least once. Naruto sighed and thought, I know Eva and I'm sorry for the way that sounded, it just was unique for my first time. Eva said, true. A few moments of silence later the door to the council chambers opened up and an Anbu said, you may enter now. Naruto pushed off the wall and began to walk in with his arms crossed and Weasel behind him. The room was silent as both walked in and Tsunade said, thank you both for coming. Naruto, if you would please take a seat at the table there and we will call you forward in a few moments, but you need to hear this debriefing of Weasel since you are involved to some degree. Naruto said, yes Tsunade-sama, as he walked over and sat down. Tsunade said, now as I said before they entered, no one is to react to anything they say or do until I say otherwise. Do so will be considered treason and I will have you executed because I am not in the mood for bullshit today. Now Weasel, please remove your mask and state your name. Weasel reached for his mask as he said, my name is Uchiha Itachi, as he showed his face. Gasps were heard throughout the room and several of the shinobi in the room tensed along with the Anbu while several others paled. Tsunade slammed her fist into the table and screamed, settle down, while releasing some ki. Everyone slowly calmed down though a few shinobi and clan heads held weapons under the table. Tsunade said, now that everyone is calmed down the Sandaime would like to speak. Sarutobi stood up and said, now many of you are wondering why an S-rank missing nin is in this room and we are ordering you all to sit down and be quiet. The truth is at the time of the Uchiha massacre Itachi was in my office getting briefed on an S-rank mission, making several people look at him in shock. A civilian said, but if that's true then why does everyone including yourself claim he was responsible? If it wasn't him then who was it? Koharu and Homaru both were sweating and Sarutobi said, if you all notice there is a council member not present. The reason he is not present because if he does appear he will be killed on sight. The reason is Danzo ordered his secret Anbu unit he created and ran illegally to kill the Uchiha. Had Itachi not been in my office and Sasuke in the academy then odds are both would be dead. We don't know why Danzo did it but we believe that the Uchiha police force discovered some of Danzo's illegal activities and before they could react to the information they had he eliminated them. Now as for why I stated Itachi was the one responsible is for 3 reasons. The first reason was Danzo has had a lot of political backing thanks to bribes and blackmail including members of this council, as he looked at the civilian members and a few gulped. Sarutobi continued, now I don't know who all he had in his pocket but I ordered an investigation as one of my last acts as Hokage and once the Anbu finds out those members will be killed for treason and all their family homes and land will be confiscated, making those who gulp pale. Tsunade said, however if after this meeting those who wish to admit their crimes come before me and confess on what you did for Danzo as well as why you were supporting him I will be far more merciful. You will spend a year in jail and lose your council seat as well as have to pay the village a fine to be determined by me but at least you won't be killed and lose your home. Your choice. Sarutobi cleared his throat and said, now the second reason I lied about the truth was because of Sasuke. Since he found his family dead right after Itachi did, Itachi believed that Sasuke would go on a killing spree looking for anyone he thought might have done it so he made Sasuke believe he did it with a genjutsu. The final reason was because of the mission that Itachi here has been on since then. The one I was briefing him on before the massacre. Now Itachi, please inform the council here what you discovered. Itachi nods and said, my mission was to track down rumors on a group calling themselves Akatsuki. At the time all we had on them was that Orochimaru was a member of this group and that they were composed of S-rank criminals. I originally was going to be declared a missing nin for stealing the forbidden scroll of seals, though the one I would take would be a fake, but only the Hokage and myself would know that. Once that happened, I was to infiltrate this group and discover who all the members were and what they wanted. After the massacre of my family, it was decided that would be considered my crime and make it more believable that I was an S-rank missing nin. Now that you understand what my original orders were, I will begin what I discovered. The group is composed of 10 primary members and several sleeper agents throughout the elemental nations. To all but 3 members, the leader of the organization is a member named Pain who holds the legendary Rinnegan bloodline. All information on it has been submitted to the Hokage and classified. The real leader, however, is someone who we have believed to have been dead for several years. In my investigation, I discovered the real leader is none other than Uchiha Madara, and that he was the one responsible for the QB attack on our village, making everyone wide-eyed, and Naruto narrowed his eyes. A civilian asked, "How is that possible? He died fighting the Shodaime Hokage." Itachi said, "It is possible because of the 5th level of the Sharingan. It gives a Sharingan user eternal youth. All information besides that is classified by order of the Hokage." Murmurs broke out for several moments, and Tsunade said, "Quite," as everyone stopped talking. She said, "Proceed with the rest, Itachi." Itachi said, "Yes, Hokage-sama. Now that everyone knows who the leader is, I will brief you on the other members. Each members besides Madara is grouped in pairs. Pain's partner is a woman named Konan. She has the ability to turn her body into paper and control any paper around her into weapons that she can use to kill. The rest of the members are all S-rank missing nins, and information on them could be found in the bingo book, but those members are Zetsu of Grass, Kakazu of Waterfall, Hidden of Hot Springs, Sasori of Suna, Kisame of Mist, though because of his battle with Naruto-kun he lost one of his arms as well as one of his kidneys." Naruto smirked as he saw several people look at him. Naruto said, "I got the arm as a trophy if anyone wants to see it." Several people paled, and Itachi smirked a half-second before hiding it and said, "Now where was I? Oh yes, Orochimaru is a former member, though he still has ties to the group. The last member of the group is Deidara of Iwa." Several people murmured at this, and a glare from Tsunade shut him up. After she nods to Itachi, he continued, "Now that is all the current members, and there can only be 10 full-time members because they require one of these," as he showed his hand that had a ring on it. Naruto asked, "What is so special about that ring, Weasel?" Itachi said, "These rings are part of the ritual used to capture and extract a Beiyu from a Jinchuriki like yourself, so they may use them to destroy all the hidden villages and enslave the world." Murmurs broke out, and Sarutobi asked, "What exactly are the rings for, Itachi? I mean, would you go into more detail?" Itachi nods and said, "Each member is assigned a Beiyu to capture and control, with Madara able to control all of them. As I said before, the rings are part of a jutsu. The rings themselves, when channeling chakra into them, is like a hand sign to a jutsu. Each hand sign allows control of one Beiyu. The Beiyu, if it was captured I could control, would have been the Kyuubi. However, as I said before, Madara ring allows him control of all the Beiyu, and his Sharingan also allows him to control Kyuubi if it were free. While it is inside of Naruto, it cannot be controlled by the Sharingan or the rings." Naruto nods and thought, "Make sure we get all information on those men later, Eva, so I know what to expect." Eva said, "Yes, Naru-kun." A civilian said, "Then we should kill him before they have a chance to capture the Kyuubi." Making several members agree, and Naruto shot a senbon at the desk in front of the man who said that, shocking everyone in the room, and Naruto said, "That could have been an exploding one just as easy and you would be dead. Now this," as he raised his other hand showing the glowing crystal, "is my thrust cannon. It is currently at 75% power, which is more than enough to kill every man and woman in this room," making everyone pale. Sarutobi said, "Naruto, stop." Naruto said, "No. I am sick and tired of this. I came here today to accept my birthright and to talk about not only my political marriage for the new peace treaty between Suna and us, but also to talk about starting a clan with my bloodline. Now because of that idiot and those who agreed with it, I am wondering if I should just release Kyuubi and let it kill everyone in Konoha," making everyone pale even more. A civilian said, "Is that a threat, Kyuubi?" Naruto smirked, and a puff of smoke appeared next to Naruto, shocking everyone as the Yondaime appeared grabbing Naruto's arm, and he looked shocked as well and asked, "Dad?" The Yondaime said, "Yes, now calm down and listen, I don't have much time. My soul powers the seal, and if you ask it I will release the Kyuubi, since I am sickened by the way Konoha has treated you, but I ask that you give them another chance, son. This is probably the only time I will be able to speak to you. I am sorry for choosing you, but I could not ask anyone else to give up the child when I myself couldn't. Sarutobi, I want my son to be given Sanin travel rights to come and go as he pleases. I know you have your mother's bloodline. There is a safety deposit box in the custody of the Fire Lord which contains her family scrolls. Have Sarutobi ask for them. I love you, son, and even if you destroy Konoha, I am proud of you. Live a long and happy life. Goodbye, my son. As he was gone in a puff of smoke, Naruto looked at the spot where the Yondaime was and he closed his eyes and closed his hand and the glow from it disappeared and he said, sorry, as he walked toward the door. The two Anbu at the door bowed slightly at him and opened the door and closed it. After he was gone, the room was in silence for several minutes, shocked by what they just seen and heard. A civilian asked, was that real? Itachi said, yes. That was not a henj or genjutsu. That was the Yondaime Hokage. Sarutobi sighed and said, damn Konoha. Making everyone look at him shocked. Inoiki asked, what do you mean, sir? Sarutobi said, we have most likely just lost one of the strongest ninja in the village because of idiots like him, pointing to the one who said to kill Naruto. Chooser asked, what do you mean? Sarutobi chuckled and said, none of you know how strong Naruto really is or about his special abilities he now has. I don't even know what his bloodline is. Tsunade said, ice, making everyone look at her. Tsunade sighed and said, yesterday Naruto asked Shizune to run a test on his bloodline because when the Kyuubi chakra was cut off from him after he fought Orochimaru the first time, he was able to use an ice bloodline. I walked into the room when she was running the test and saw the results. I then told her how to help him use it with the Kyuubi chakra, so he has begun to train to use it. Sarutobi took a deep breath and said, that will make him that much more valuable to other villagers. Not only has he learned the Rasengan, but he has created his own version that can be thrown. It is the move he used to injure Kisame. Then there is his chakra saber and chakra scythe, his exploding senbons, his armor, his water jutsu, plus Suna gave him several of their wind jutsu as a gift for marring the Kazekage sister who he owns now because I ordered him to fight for her against Danzo-san. Then there is his Kijibunshin no jutsu where he can make 1,000 of them, as well as the fact he now has the Toad summoning contract. We have someone who has several A and S rank jutsu that any village would want in the hands of a person who just was given Sanin travel rights. Not to mention he has already been asked to be a feudal lord of a country and he is part owner in all water shipping companies. If he wanted to, he could tax Konoha and the Fire Country and we would have no choice but to pay it, or he could refuse to ship to Konoha, and most of our seafood, high-grade iron and fruits come from companies he is partner in, and he could destroy Konoha without raising a finger, all because of idiots like him, pointing to the same man again. The man saw everyone in the room glaring at him and he was pale and he said, but I didn't know he was the son of the Yondaime. Sarutobi snorts and said, what does it matter? Are you so ready to accept him for that fact when nothing has changed about Naruto from before you heard that? The man looked down and Sarutobi said, Tsunade, if you don't mind, I need to send a message to the feudal lord. Can we wrap this up? Tsunade said, right, you're all dismissed. As everyone was leaving, the man who called for Naruto to die quickly left before anyone else, and after they were gone, Sarutobi said, damn Konoha. Tsunade sighed and said, what should we do, sensei? I mean, he could have killed us. Sarutobi chuckled and said, you can come out now. A shimmer on the wall and Naruto appeared and Itachi said, I take it that was your armor special ability. Naruto said, one of them. Sorry about that, old man, but I am not going to sit back and be called a demon anymore. I am tired of this shit. Sarutobi said, I know though, how did you do that with your father? Naruto rubbed his head and said, actually, I don't know if it was real or not, but when I was meditating yesterday before I was released from the hospital, that sort of really happened. I found myself in this sewer place and I found the cage of the Kyuubi, but all I could see was his red eyes with black slits behind the cage, and there was this piece of paper in front of the cage. I don't know why, but I walked toward the paper, but before I got too close to it, Dad appeared and said basically what I had him say just then. The only difference was he asked me to ask you to ask the feudal lord for the box and the Sanin papers. I had him order you. I think it was real though. Sarutobi said, it could be. Please do not threaten the council again though, Naruto, because you might have made you some more enemies. Naruto said, yeah, but thanks to that little play, word is spreading about Dad and me and people will start changing, but you did raise a valid point. What changed about me from before and now? Sarutobi said, true. Naruto said, now how do you know about me owning all those companies? Sarutobi said, Jiraiya found out. He asked around in Wave and some guy said we needed to treat you right or you could cut us off. Naruto frowned and said, I thought I was only a silent partner. Damn. Tsunade said, well good job kid, I would have paid to see someone threaten the council like you just did but don't do it again. Naruto said, yeah, I didn't want my ice bloodline to be known though or about Eva as much as possible. Sarutobi said, I had to give them some info to calm them down. Naruto said, and scare them silly, with a pointed look. Sarutobi said, that too. So what do you plan to do now? Naruto said, I got some wind and water control exercises to learn. I would go to the library again but I can only go certain days. Tsunade said, have you thought about where you and the girls are going to live? Naruto frowned and said, no, not yet. Why? Tsunade looked at Sarutobi who nods and Tsunade said, between the Sarutobi land and the Shodaime lands is some property that belongs to me that belonged to the Nadaime Hokage. It was going to be his family home but his wife died before they had any children and he never wanted to remarry. If you want I am willing to give it to you. Naruto looked at her and asked, why? What do you get out of it? Tsunade said, the place is falling down and I don't have any children. Shizune is the only family I have left and I am leaving her the Shodaime home. When I die if I don't give it to someone the village can claim it for themselves and I don't want them to have it because I have read the reports they done to you and a few other things I am mad about. I figure I might as well give it to you to stop them. I will change the blood seal on the library so you can read some of my granduncle's jutsu scrolls he has there and make them part of your family jutsu. They're all water jutsu and a few kenjutsu jutsu. Naruto's eyes were wide and said, I'll accept. Thanks Tsunade Bachan. Tsunade got a tick on her eyebrow and hit him on the head and said, don't call me that Gaki. Naruto smiled a real smile and said, thanks though. Tsunade said, no problem Gaki. Naruto took a deep breath and said, there is something else though, since I found out that I have the ice bloodline that means I also had a relative who died on the bridge in Wave. I need to go to the land of water and go to their hall of records. I want to see if I can find any other family members who might still be alive and also find out more about my mom. I know dad was an orphan but maybe I can find something about her. Tsunade frowned and said, very well but only after I think you're strong enough to go on your own. Naruto said, very well. Tsunade said, I'll have a Genin clean up the place for you today and tomorrow after your team training I'll show you the place. Naruto said, thanks. Well I guess I better go train, see ya, as he left. After he was gone Sarutobi said, you just made yourself a loyal friend Tsunade. Tsunade said, yeah but he's going to give me gray hairs. Sarutobi said, you have no idea. Good luck with the paperwork, as he left with a smile on his face. Tsunade glared at his retreating form. Naruto walked through the village with a small spring in his step and thought, him, threatening a council member usually $500 fine, threatening the entire council usually a $5,000 fine, having a Kijibunshin use sexy no jutsu as dad and scare the shit out of the council with threatening to release Kyuubi, priceless. When in political headaches arise, to get rid of them make them want to avoid you, as a smile formed on his face. He saw a few people nod toward him and thought, strange, I figured by now people would have forgotten about my part of the invasion. Well Tenten wanted me to come by after I got out so here I go. As he changed direction. 10 minutes later Naruto opened the door to the Wolf Claw weapon shop and saw Dustin behind the counter and said, hi. Dustin looked at him and said, hello. I'm sorry but I am all out of daughters after you got the last one, as he glared at Naruto. Naruto sighed and said, it wasn't my fault. Things were not supposed to happen like they did. Dustin said, but they did so now what are you going to do about it? Naruto said, what can I do? All four of the women in my life have basically decided for themselves what they want to do and are going to do it even if I say no. Dustin blinked and asked, 4, I thought there was only 3. Eva appeared in a puff of smoke as her red-headed self and said, the 4th would be me. Hello creator. Dustin blinked and said, you're real, as he walked around the counter. Naruto said, yeah though this is only temporary. We're working on a way to let her stay out but it's taking time. Dustin touched Eva's arm and head and said, you feel like flesh and blood. How? Eva said, combined sealing, chakra control and ninjutsu. I can only take one strong hit so far before I am dispelled or run out of chakra. Though it does allow for physical contact between Naruto and me. Dustin said, I see. You're different, Eva. You're evolving from the original program somehow. Eva said, I know, I am self-aware. I have been since shortly after bonding with Naruto-kun. Dustin looked at Naruto and said, so what are you doing here? Naruto said, Tenten asked me to come see here after I got out of the council chamber today. I just got out and came here. Dustin said, well, she's not here, she went to meet someone about something. Naruto said, I see. For what it's worth, I am sorry about all this. I tried to keep her out of my business, but she doesn't take no for an answer. Dustin chuckled and said, you're right about that. For what it's worth, kid, I may not like the way things happen, but I am actually glad she's with you. At least I know you will try and make her happy. Naruto said, I will try, though I know I will make mistakes. Dustin said, we all do. So can I help you with anything? Naruto thought a second and said, do you mind if Eva and I look at your inventory? We are working on several things to make us stronger and for the future, and we need ideas on how to do them. Dustin said, sure, look around. Eva should be able to scan everything pretty quickly. Eva said, yes. Thank you, Dustin-sama, as she began to walk around the store. Dustin looked at her and asked, why did she change her looks? Naruto sighed and said, because Tenten keep confusing her with her late mother. Dustin said, I see, so what was the council meeting about? Naruto shrugged and said, a little this, little that, Uchiha Itachi back in the village, and it turns out Danzo had the Uchiha killed and Itachi was a spy for Konoha. Some idiots thought it would be a good idea to have me killed, so I scared the shit out of them and they know who my dad is now. Nothing big. Dustin blinked as he processed everything he heard before he chuckled and said, I see. You're a surprising one. Eva walked back over and said, I scanned everything and found a few that might come in handy later, though I am nearly out of chakra again. I will save the rest for later. As she went up in smoke and Naruto reached down and grabbed the small ball and placed it on his shoulder where it was reabsorbed into the armor. Dustin saw this and said, interesting. My wife and I never thought of anything like that. Naruto said, some of my enemies now, nearly my entire arsenal now, so I am having to add to it. I guess I better get to training then. Tell Tenten I came by and she might be late coming from practice tomorrow. Tsunade Bachan is giving us the Nadaime home to start the Namikaze clan in. Dustin was wide-eyed and said, you're kidding. Naruto said, nope, Tsunade going to show it to us tomorrow after team practice. Dustin said, I will be sure to tell Tenten. She's going to love that. Naruto said, well, I best be going. Sire. As he left. After he was gone, Dustin sighed and said, so what's up? Tenten stepped out from the back and said, I don't want to talk to him right now. I'm not ready yet. Dustin sighed and said, if you want out, then tell him, Tenten. I am sure that he will understand. Tenten said, it's not that, it's. I like him, that's not the problem, I'm just confused right now. He talks about family and kids and plans for the future, but I'm not ready to think about those things. I want to make a name for myself and fulfill my dream, but as she felt a pair of arms circle around her, making her freeze in place. Dustin saw who was behind her and her freeze and said, well, I guess I need to see if that material I ordered has come in. Sire, later, dear. As he smiled and left. Tenten slowly turned her head and saw Naruto standing there, and he looked at her with kindness in his eyes and said, hi. Tenten blushed and said, hi. Look about, as she was silenced with Naruto putting his finger to her lips and said, shush, as he stepped back away from her. Tenten frowned and Naruto said, I understand how you feel, Tenten. Believe me, I do. I went from thinking everyone hates me to having 4 women want to be in my life. I understand you're confused and frightened by all this, and so am I. I'm scared I'm going to hurt you, or that someone will hurt you to get to me, or that you will wake up and realize you don't care for me. I'm scared about what it's going to be like to be a husband or a father, and I know you're scared of being a wife and a mother. I understand and I respect you wanting to fulfill your dream and make a name for yourself. I'm the same way. I'm sorry for mentioning about kids, and I don't mean right now. I was just thinking like 5 or 10 years down the road. Shizune talked to me about sex and she told me that it's not healthy for someone our age to have kids right now, so I wasn't meaning to make you uncomfortable. It was just something that Eva and I were talking about the future, and I thought I would tell you and you Chan as well, so that way while we try to figure out a way to make our future family better you could help with it. Since things are going so fast, how about this? We spend some time together in casual atmosphere and work on being friends first. Forget the wedding thing and the engagement thing for now. If that is as far as we want to take it, that's fine, but I am willing to take time and get to know you if you're willing to do the same. If we both decide to move on in our relationship, then I will do the right thing and ask you to marry me, not this political bullshit. Earlier today I nearly killed the council over their idiotic ideas, and if they tried to force us to marry and we didn't want to, I would make their lives a living hell. I am known as the prank master from hell for a reason, you know. Tenten smiled a little and asked, how did you get in here behind me like that, and how did you know I was here? Naruto said, I knew you were here because Eva detected you. As for getting behind you, I didn't. I'm leaning against the building outside waiting to see if you will accept my invention. I created a Kijbunshin behind you when I left. I'm going to go train in 2 of my elements, wind and water, as well as some other training. If you want to join me, I am waiting. As he went up in smoke, Tenten glared at the spot he was at before she walked out to the door and saw Naruto just around the corner and said, give me 5 minutes to get my things, as she slammed the door and went to grab her gear. After locking up the store, she asked, so where are we going to train? Naruto said, I learned some really cool exercises to work on water affinities, and I think Gigi said you had water also, right? Tenten said, yeah. Naruto said, if you want I can tell you the first one and we can work on it while we play 20 questions. I want to get to know you better and I am sure you're the same. What do you say? Tenten said, fine, show me the way. Naruto said, great, come on, as he took his hand and began to run through the village. 10 minutes later the pair was standing at the lake at the bottom of the waterfall Naruto was on the day before, and he put his hands together and said, Kijbunshin no Jutsu. As 60 clones appeared and he said, alright, divide evenly, 1/3 work on water, 1/3 on wind, and the rest on chakra control. Go. As all the clones said, yes sir, as they immediately got to work. Tenten saw them divide up and go away and she said, I don't think I will ever get used to that. Naruto shrugged and said, it does come in handy though, now I know why it was in the Forbidden Scroll. So you ready to learn this? Tenten said, I guess, what do I got to do? Naruto said, you know water walking right? Tenten nods and Naruto said, good, the first exercise is you have to walk out on the water and then send your chakra into the water until your chakra forms a circle about 5 feet around you, and you use your chakra to make the water spin either clockwise or counterclockwise, not both. This will increase your reserves, control and water manipulation so your elemental control gets better. Tenten said, all right, let's try this, as she walked out and put her hand in a ram seal and began to push her chakra into the water. After a few minutes with her sweating she said, this is harder than it looks. Naruto said, I know, after trying it with my clones all day yesterday after I got out of the hospital they could only get about 1 foot or 2 of water to move like I wanted. Even now it looks like they are only at 3 feet of control. Shizune said this could take years to master, but it would help in the long run. Tenten nods and after about 5 more minutes she walks to shore and said, I need a break, my chakra is low. Naruto said, I guess then we could spend time talking while you rest. Tenten said, I guess, so what do you want to know? Naruto thought a moment and said, what is your dream you spoke about earlier? Tenten blinked and said, that's surprising. Nobody ever actually asked that before. I've always had to tell people what it was. Well, the truth is I always wanted to become strong and famous like my idol Tsunade, and I want to prove that women can be just as good as men can. Naruto blinked and said, huh. Tenten looked at him and asked, huh, what do you mean huh? In a demanding tone. Naruto rubbed his head and said, well of course women can be as strong as men, who said they weren't, looking confused. Tenten blinked and looked at Naruto who was still rubbing his head and she asked, haven't you ever noticed how women are treated different than men, like we are weaker and can only be of use because of our bodies? Naruto frowned and thought a moment and said, I guess I never really thought about it before. Now that you mention it I remember Sakura-chan always getting took for special classes while we were running laps, but I thought that her and the others were learning special moves. Tenten snorts and said, flower arrangements and flirting are not what I call special moves. I wanted to stab my teacher in the academy with a dull rusted kunai. Naruto thought a moment and said, well, that wasn't what I thought they were getting taught. I thought that since girls had better chakra control than guys, they were being taught how to control it during those classes. Tenten burst out laughing and said, you're an idiot. Naruto frowned and looked down, and Tenten saw this and said, sorry. I didn't mean it literally. Naruto waved his hand and sat down on the shore and said, I've been called worse before. I'm used to it. Tenten got up and sat down beside him and said, I didn't mean it though. I was just saying that if that was what you thought we were learning and why women have better control of our chakra, you're wrong. The truth is women have smaller chakra reserves naturally, and because we have smaller amounts then we have better control. That is why most medical nins are female as well as genjutsu users. Naruto thought a moment and said, so that is why you chose weapons, because it's not one of those two fields, so that way when you show everyone how strong you are they can't say it comes natural to you. Tenten was wide-eyed and said, yeah. How did you guess? Naruto said, it makes sense. At least to me in a way it does. During your match with Temari you used chakra strings to pull your weapons at her for the second part, right? Tenten said partially. It was special ninja wire that can be controlled with chakra. Naruto said, well, I thought it was chakra strings, but what you used would be the same as what I was thinking. You used your natural chakra control to enhance your chosen field, like driving a nail into the wall to show everyone, look, I did this as a woman. Tenten thought about what he said a moment and said, I never thought about it like that before. I just thought that by choosing weapons and everything associated with it, then everyone would have to recognize me as the master in that field. Naruto said, well, you're not weak. Most of the worst hits I ever took were from women. Hell, Tsunade put me through a wall when I first met her, and Sakura not too far behind that. If she would learn to channel her energy like she does when I pissed her off. Yugao can cut you up faster than you can see. Temari can stop nearly anything that is thrown at her, and then there is you. Tenten asked, what about me? Naruto said, Guy-sensei said that you had 100% accuracy at throwing weapons. I can only hit the target 7 out of 10 times, and that's if it's not moving. I usually only hit 3 or 4 times a moving target and never where I am aiming at. For someone, male or female, to have that good of accuracy at throwing weapons makes you a very deadly. I know I wouldn't want you to throw them at me because I would be cut up into little tiny pieces, and that's with the armor. Then there is all those weapons you have. I know you keep a bunch sealed, but I remember when we were in the academy and I saw you outside the window throwing weapons, and I still don't know where the hell you keep all them. Tenten blushed and said, a girl's got to have her secrets. Naruto said, I can understand that. But you're not weak, and anyone who says you are has never seen you fight. Hell, I bet you could have turned Sasuke team into chop liver with his Sharingan if you would have faced him. Hell, you would have beat anyone in the exams besides Temari and Gaara, and that's only because there are no wind users in this village for you to have trained against to know of that weakness. I bet if you went against wind users all the time you would figured out a way to throw your weapons against the wind and kicked her ass. Tenten asked, you really think so? Naruto said, I do. Tenten smiled and kissed his cheek and said, thanks. Naruto blushed and asked, for what? Tenten said, for being a nice guy. Naruto said, I try. So what do you want to know about me? Tenten said, let's see. I know about your parents, Eva, the suit. Fur ball. Wave. I know your dream is to be Hokage and someday have a family. You love ramen, let's see. Naruto waited for Tenten to think a few moments and she asked, well, I don't know. What's something about you I don't know? Naruto snorts and said, there's a lot about me you don't know. I like the color orange. Tenten said, I thought that you wore that jumpsuit because nobody would sell you anything else. Naruto said partially, but the real reason I like orange is because it reminds me of sunrise and sunset. I like to watch both because they both represent both beginnings and ends. Tenten thought a moment and said, I guess I could see that. I never really though of it like that. Naruto asked, what about you? Tenten asked, what about me? Naruto asked, what's your favorite color and why? Tenten said, you may laugh but it's silver. Naruto asked, why? Not that I think it's bad, but I never heard anyone say they like the color silver before. Tenten reached up and pulled out a necklace from around her neck and it had a ring on it and said, because this is my mom's wedding ring, besides her dairy this is basically the only thing I have that is all hers and it's silver. Naruto said, I see, your turn. Tenten thought a moment and said, hobbies. Naruto said, watching sunrises and sunsets, training, fishing. Tenten asked, fishing. You mean using kunais and strings to catch fish? Naruto said, no, I mean using a fishing pole and take my time to relax doing them. I learned how to do it when I was in Wave. I took Inari fishing since, as he looked away. Tenten saw him look away and asked, since what? Naruto bit his lip and said, there's something you're going to hear soon and I guess I better explain it. You remember Tsunami, Inari mom? Tenten nods and Naruto said, something happened to her and she's going to be a mom again. Tenten blinked and narrowed her eyes and asked, what does that have to do with you? Naruto said, the father's not around anymore. Her son and father don't know about it yet. Tenten frowned and said, so? Naruto said, only Tsunami, you-chan, and now you know the truth. Tsunami a good woman and she's done so much for me, I wanted to help her where I could. She was there for me after my first kill, and so when I was in Wave learning to use the suit I said I agreed to say the baby's mine. Tenten took a deep breath and asked, is it? Naruto said, no. I hope he was one of the men I killed. Tenten looked at him a moment before she pieced everything together and said, oh. I didn't. Naruto interrupted her and said, nobody else knows and I want it to remain that way. The only reason I'm telling you is because people will talk after the baby's born and I don't want you to think I'm cheating on you. She had to be strong for her son and father so much that she couldn't even deal with it. She just had to keep going on. I helped her where I could, but there's not much anyone can do. I hope you understand. Tenten said, I do, that's something nearly every woman fears on some level, so any other hobbies? Trying to change the subject. Naruto said, dancing. Tenten looked shocked and said, really? Now that I did not see coming. You any good? Before Naruto could respond, music started to play a light tune and Naruto chuckled and said, I guess I can show you. Shall we? As he stood up and held out his hand. Tenten said, but I don't know how to dance. Naruto said, then follow my lead. Tenten bit her lip and slowly took his hand and Naruto put both her arms over his shoulders and he put his hands on her side and she giggled a second and Naruto said, still ticklish huh? Tenten glared at him as they began to dance and Tenten after a few minutes put her head on his chest and closed her eyes listening to his heartbeat and the music. They danced for around 20 minutes and she looked down and went wide-eyed and found they were on the lake and she looked at Naruto shocked and started to say something when he said, I'm using my chakra to make a platform under us so we can dance. You're really good at this. Tenten blushed and said, I got a good teacher. Naruto said, so how do you feel? Want to train some more, talk some more, or call it a day? Tenten looked at the sky and said, it's already that late, as she saw it was about an hour till sunset. Naruto said, yeah. Tenten yawned and said, man, I didn't realize I was so tired. I guess we should head back. I bet Dad's upset. Naruto said, I'll walk you home. Tenten said, I can walk myself. Naruto said, I know. I just thought it would give us a chance to talk some more on the way back. A swirl of leaves appeared near them and a splash was heard and both looked over and saw an Anbu who had fell in the water, making both teens laugh, and the Anbu glared at them through his mask and said, Naruto Uzumaki, you have gate duty that you are late for. Naruto frowned and said, nobody informed me. The Anbu said, it's on the wall as you enter the mission room. It is updated every Wednesday. Naruto said, thanks. I will head there and check it in the future. The Anbu nods and leaves and Naruto looked at Tenten and said, I guess I can't walk you home after all. Tenten said, it's alright. I had fun though. Naruto said, I'm glad. I did also. Tenten said, well you better go. Naruto nods and starts to turn away when Tenten turns him back around and kisses his lips lightly and stepped back and said, good night. Naruto smiled and said, night, see you tomorrow, as he ran off the lake and went toward the main gates. After he was gone, Tenten sighed before she walked toward the shore and blinked when she got there as another Naruto was standing there and said, if boss can't walk you home at least one of us could, as he motioned toward all the clones. Tenten looked at them a moment before a sweet little smile appeared on her face and said, what's a girl to do? Tell you what, fight each other and the last one standing gets to walk me home. All the Kijbunshin started to instantly fight and Tenten giggled to herself as she left without the clones noticing. When Naruto got to the gates he saw Kakashi who was reading his book and Naruto frowned before he said, sorry I'm late. Got lost on the road of life. Kakashi looked from his book and said, second right and straight on till morning. Sire. As he smiled before leaving in a swirl of leaves. Naruto looked at the other guard and said, hi. The guard grunted and said, wake me if anyone comes, as he closed his eyes. Naruto thought, great, another Shikamaru, damn woman. Did she have to tell them that? The next day Naruto walked onto training ground 7 and saw Sakura sitting on the bridge, and he looked around and put his hands together and 10 puffs of smoke appeared and he said, get to it. The Kijbunshin that appeared divided in half with 5 of them standing on the water while the other 5 grabbed rocks and began to try to cut them. Naruto sat down on the bridge and closed his eyes and began to meditate, ignoring Sakura looking at him. Sakura cleared her throat and said, hi Naruto. Naruto said, hello Sakura, in a neutral tone. Sakura frowned and looked down, and Naruto opened his eyes and said, sorry. I had guard duty till 4 a.m. this morning and I'm a little tired. It's not you. Tenten said, so even you need sleep Mr. Stamina, with a smile. Naruto smiled and said, hey Ten-chan, sleep well, as he yawned. Tenten said, yeah, kept dreaming of dancing on water though, with a mild blush on her face. Naruto said, we got to do that again sometime at night on a full moon. That way the silver moon will reflect off the water. Sakura was looking back and forward and asked, are you two going out? Naruto rubbed his head and Tenten said, I'm engaged to him. Sakura's eyes got wide and she looked at Naruto shocked, and Naruto said, long story short, I'm supposed to marry Ten-chan, Temari-chan, and Yu-chan after the Chunin exams in Suna. Sakura asked, but how, what's going on? Why him? Naruto rubbed his collar to his cloak and said, what can I say? Woman love a sharp dress man. Tenten burst out laughing, holding her side as Sakura gaped at Naruto, and a voice that all 3 recognized said, seems you are all 3 full of energy today. Making them look and saw Kakashi sitting on the top of the bridge in a crouch holding his book. Naruto looked around and said, where's Weasel? Kakashi looked at Naruto questionably and Naruto said, the Hokages give me info ahead of time. Especially when it nearly cost me my life. A swirl of leaves appeared on the bridge and Sakura flinched and said, Sasuke. Naruto ignored Sakura and said, hey Weasel. Itachi looked at Naruto and said, hello Naruto-kun. I see you are doing wind and water manipulation exercises. As he looked at the clones. Naruto said, yeah, so what's the plan? Itachi looked at Kakashi, who was looking at Itachi with a frown behind his mask, and Kakashi said, well, we need to see what you can do. And Itachi said, actually Kakashi-san, Hokage-sama has stated that all 3 here have outside training besides what they are learning from us. She wants us to work on the fundamentals with them for now, like chakra control, hand sign speed, endurance, stamina, and weapon efficiency. Combat training can come later. Now I will ask if you know something. If you do, say yes. If not, remain silent. We will then go from there. Kakashi frowned and said, I don't think they are ready for the kind of training you're proposing, Itachi. That is Anbu level training and Naruto is only barely A. Naruto interrupts him and said, why don't you just go back and blow Sasuke? Team Kakashi, you don't want to train any of us, and as far as you care we can all die. Tenten already a hell of a Kunoichi and has learned more from Guy Sensei than she ever could learn from you. Sakura is learning from Tsunade things that would have been helpful back in Wave and the Chunin exams, but you were too busy kissing Sasuke ass to teach her, and remember you said I wasn't even worth your time. Kakashi said, watch your remark Chunin, in a demanding voice. Naruto said, truth hurts doesn't it? As he glared at him, and Tenten placed her hand on Naruto's shoulder, who sighed and said, sorry Kakashi-san, your past experience with this team leaves me with a lack of faith in your credibility to teach us anything. I will however reserve judgment until later. Kakashi frowned behind his mask and Itachi said, now let's begin. Tree walking, water walking, kunai balancing, whirlpool walking, getting a yes from all 3 on the first 2 and only Naruto on the third, and silence on the last. Itachi said, I see. Then after warm-up Sakura and Tenten will work on the kunai balancing while Naruto-kun works on the whirlpool walking. Once both girls can do both exercises for an hour showing mastery, they will join Naruto-kun. Now for warm-ups we will begin with a 5-mile hike while each of you will work on your hand seal speed by going over all 12 of them over and over again, increasing your speed as you do it, but do not mold your chakra doing that. We are only working on hand seal speed for now. Naruto asked, do you know one-hand signs? Itachi looked at Naruto and said, yes, though there are 24 of them and I am not planning to teach them yet. Why? Naruto frowned and said, my bloodline can use one-hand signs and I was hoping to at least get a reference point for them so I can practice with it outside of team training. Itachi said, all right, I will show you all 24 slowly only once though. Naruto said, that's all I need. Itachi went through them and Kakashi asked, I was not aware you had a bloodline, Naruto. What is it? Naruto said, no offense Kakashi, but I don't trust you right now so I won't tell you, with a glare. Tenten said, Naruto-kun, calm down. Naruto frowned and said, fine, as he looked at Itachi. Itachi shook his head and took a deep breath and said, now before we begin I think you all should know exactly why these hand signs are important. Sakura said, hand signs are used to make jutsu, trying to show how smart she is. Itachi said, incorrect. Hand signs are actually what Naruto Kajbunshin are doing over there. They manipulate chakra into different forms, shapes, and elements. The first 5 hand signs, rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, and dragon are actually the 5 main elements. Rat is earth, ox is lightning, tiger is fire, rabbit is wind, and dragon is water. Nearly every jutsu you see besides bloodlines will either begin or end with one of these hand signs. Now the next 3 are snake, horse, and ram. These 3 are shape manipulation of the element. The last 4 are control seals. Monkey, inu, boar and bird allow for control of the element. So basically what you are doing is choosing a base element to start with, then begin shaping it and then controlling the shape so it doesn't fall apart before you add to it by adding a second element or more shape and control. Do you 3 understand? Naruto said, so basically if we started with dragon we could do that water dragon Zabuza and Kakashi used. Itachi said, no, it would be added in there but the water dragon jutsu is a perfect example of each hand sign's meaning, as he flashed through the hand signs and a water dragon formed and killed the Kajbunshin. Naruto frowned and said, damn. One of them almost had the first exercise done. Itachi said, now do any of you have any more questions? No one said anything and Itachi said, all right, let's go, as he began to lead them through the woods for their hike. Kakashi looked down and thought, I really screwed up with them and it seems that it is getting worse, as he began to follow. Once they were back at the training grounds where they began, Itachi looked at Kakashi and said, will you work with them on the kunai balancing while I show Naruto-kun whirlpool walking? Kakashi said, all right, as he took the girls away from the water. Itachi walked to the water and went through 30 hand signs before touching the water and it began to spin and he said, now all you have to do is walk to the center of this whirlpool and stay there. The whirlpool will try and throw you away from the center so you have to constantly work on it or start back at the very beginning. Do you have any questions? Naruto said, no Itachi-sensei, as he walked out on the water and made it about 2 steps before he was shoved 5 feet away from the edge of the whirlpool. Itachi said, this is a Junin-level chakra control exercise I learned from Kisame. Keep practicing. I can keep the whirlpool going for an hour, as he walked over and began to watch the girls practice while Kakashi pulled out his book and began to read. An hour later Naruto was panting as he stepped on the shore after the whirlpool dissolved and he said, that was harder than I thought. Itachi said, you made it to the 6th ring, that is not bad for your first attempt. You have better than average Genin level chakra control. Tenten was sitting down resting and asked, what do you mean? How could you tell his chakra control level? Itachi said, the whirlpool exercise creates 30 ring of water. They are divided into 6 rings, the furthest 6 are Genin chakra control, next 6 are Chunin, next 6 are Anbu, then Junin and last is Medic Nin. Now the trick to this exercise besides showing what level you are at is also how much chakra you have. For Naruto he has more chakra than all of us put together but because of his low control he is right at the border between a high Genin and low Chunin. Now from what I saw both you have excellent chakra control but you have smaller reserves. I would say you Sakura would make it to about the 3rd or 4th ring and Tenten would be at the same level as Naruto but only barely. Both girls frowned and Tenten opened her mouth to say something when a scream of Itachi rang through the clearing with the sound of a Chidori. Naruto looked where the voice was coming from and saw Sasuke charging toward Itachi in a blur while holding his wrist and as he neared Itachi, Kakashi was already in motion pulling Sakura out of the way and Itachi replaced himself. Sasuke however still had his speed going, and without his Sharingan he did not see Itachi replace himself until he stabbed his hand through the log where Itachi had been destroying the log and still moving. However, he was off balance, not expecting Itachi to get out of the way. However, the next moment all eyes in the clearing saw the sight of blood and the sound of flesh being torn apart. Naruto was wide-eyed and screamed, "No!" Naruto was by Sasuke in moments, breaking Sasuke's arm as he removed it from Tenten, who tried to move but was too tired to get out of the way quick enough. Chest. Naruto held Tenten and held his hand over her chest where the wound was and was whispering in a scared voice, "No Tenten, no. You can't be. Please God no. Please someone." Kakashi turned his head as he saw Naruto crying for Tenten and thought, "There's nothing we can do. She's dead." As he looked at Sasuke, who was holding his arm while glaring at Itachi, who was in a tree looking at the scene in sadness. Sakura looked at Tenten in shock and was shaking as she turned to look at Sasuke and thought, "That could have been me." Eva appeared, shocking everyone but Naruto, and held Naruto and said, "There's nothing we can do for her, she's dead," near his ear as she held him. Naruto closed his eyes and let tears fall a moment. Sasuke screamed, "Itachi," completely ignoring the fact he just killed Tenten. Naruto clenched his fist in rage and set Tenten's body on the ground softly and slowly stood up and said, "Sasuke, I'm going to kill you." As the armor appeared around his feet and began to cover his body, and he turned, and everyone who saw the armor looked at the helmet cover his head, and the last thing they saw of Naruto's face was his slitted red eyes. Sasuke looked at Naruto in shock and said, "What happened to you, Dobe?" Naruto raised his arm and fired a senbon at Sasuke, who dodged to the side as the senbon hit the tree behind him exploded. Sasuke saw this and screamed, "Are you nuts? Have you lost your mind?" Sasuke took out a kunai and threw it at Naruto and it bounced off his body. Sakura thought, "What is that armor? Can he even see, or is he blind in there?" Kakashi looked at Naruto and thought, "How can he even stand in that armor? Can he walk at all, or if he moves will he fall if he loses his balance?" Naruto said, "I'm going to kill you," as he began to stalk toward Sasuke. Sasuke, seeing this, began flashing through hand signs and said, "Fire style, fireball jutsu," as he breathed out a huge stream of fire at Naruto and covered his armor, and Sasuke thought, "Is he alive or dead?" as he looked around. Itachi saw as the fire went away and Naruto still was stalking toward Sasuke and thought, has he thoughts in his head besides getting revenge on Sasuke? Naruto held up his other arm and it was glowing blue, and he jerked his arm slightly and a blast of chakra shot at Sasuke, who replaced himself with a log, and the blast destroyed the log. Sakura saw this and was scared and thought, why hasn't anyone gone to get help for Tenten? I'll go get help for her. I'll just pass him by and go get her some help. Sasuke gritted his teeth and said, "What is wrong with you? Why do you even care at all about her? She's nothing but a weak little girl." Naruto growled and began to form a Raisin Shuriken in his hand, and he threw it at Sasuke, and Kakashi shoved Sasuke out of the way as it cut off a couple of hairs on his head and continued on until it sliced into a tree behind them and the tree began to fall toward the ground. Kakashi stood up and said, "Enough, Naruto. Stop. There is nothing we can do to change the fact Tenten dead. Sasuke will be punished." Naruto said, "No. There is no punishment for him but death. I will get revenge for Tenten on him," as he began to form a Rasengan in his hand and then charged at Sasuke, and Kakashi got in the way, raising his Hayate and began to flash through hand signs and grabbed his wrist, and lightning formed and he shoved his hand forward and met Naruto Rasengan, and a shock wave went out as both Naruto and Kakashi tried to overpower the other, and Kakashi was gritting his teeth and said, "Stop this, Naruto, or I will have to kill you. I won't let you kill Sasuke." Naruto was gritting his teeth and said, "Then I will just have to kill you as well," as he held up his free hand and pointed it at Kakashi and Sasuke, who was behind him, and his hand began to glow, and Kakashi saw this and thought, that's the same attack he blew that tree up that log with. If it hits me it will kill me and go after Sasuke. I have no choice, and said, "Last warning, stop or I will have to kill you, Naruto." Naruto said, "Naruto dead. I am Iron Man," as he began to jerk his wrist. Kakashi saw this and thought, "Forgive me," as his Sharingan changed shape and he looked at the center of Naruto's chest. The area around Naruto's chest began to spin as the armor tried to absorb the chakra from it. Naruto looked down as he felt something pulling at the armor, and he saw a black void appearing on his chest, and he asked, "What?" as he began feeling himself being pulled apart, and he screamed, "No," as he was pulled into the void that Kakashi made with his Sharingan. As Naruto disappeared, Kakashi fell to the ground panting. Sasuke let out a breath before he felt a blade at his neck, and Itachi said, "Foolish little brother," as he sliced Sasuke's neck, killing him. Naruto blinked as he looked around and found himself laying on the ground, and suddenly a team of Anbu appeared around him, and he tried to move but found he couldn't and thought, "Eva, why can't I move?" Eva was silent a moment and said, "The armor took electrical damage from Kakashi lightning jutsu. The armor will take some time to move, but..." Naruto asked, "But what?" Eva was silent a moment and said, "The trees around us. It was late fall a few moments ago, but it looks like it's late winter or early spring now." Naruto blinked and thought, "What does that have to do with anything?" Eva said, "Naruto, I got a theory, but I need you to do something for me." An Anbu said, "What do you think, Captain?" An Anbu in a dog mask said, "I don't know. I don't know if this is just some armor or if there is someone inside of it, and I don't know why it is in that crater," as he looked at the suit of armor in a 20-feet crater. Naruto said, "Hey, Anbu." The one in an Inu mask frowned and said, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" Iron Man said, "The name's Iron Man, but can you tell me what is today's date and year? I hit my head pretty hard when I was trying my invention out, and I want to make sure my memory's okay." Inu said, "It's February 19th 4x. Iron Man said, "Good, thanks," as flames shot out of his feet and the armor slid out of the crater following the slope as he took off flying into the air, and soon a sonic boom was heard and Naruto was flying through the air, and Eva said, "So I was right, somehow we traveled time." Iron Man said, 8 months, it's 8 months before that day. I should have a day in the academy before graduate exam, that means Tentenali, Arush, as he suddenly felt his stomach in pain. Naruto was running through the village laughing and said, "You idiots will never catch me," as Anbu chased after him as people looked at the Hokage monument and saw it was painted. Suddenly Naruto grabbed his stomach and screamed in pain as his body began to dissolve as the Anbu landed around him and wondered what was going on as his body began to fade. Once it was gone, they looked at each other and one said, "We need to report to the Hokage immediately about this." Iron Man flew wildly as he held his stomach, and after 15 minutes the pain went away and he thought, "What happened? I just felt pain and now I got memories of me being chased by Anbu after painting the Hokage monument." Eva was silent a moment and said, "There is a scientific theory that my creator learned. It said 2 objects could not exist at the same point at the same time. I believe that the Naruto from this time period has stopped existing and you have now taken his place, or you will stop existing yourself soon." Iron Man frowned and landed on the ground, and after 20 minutes he thought, "I guess it must be the first, so what now?" Eva appeared in front of him and said, "You've been given something that many people have wanted, a second chance to do things. You have memories of the future and can change them if you wanted to." Iron Man thought a moment and said, "Haku. Tenten. I could save them both." Eva said, "Yes, and you prepare for Akatsuki and Orochimaru and have your revenge." Iron Man smiled and said, "I love you, Eva," as he laughed. Eva joined in and the woods around them were covered with laughter. To be continued. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.